Hey everyone, Branden here. Time for Branden's Boy Problems. Today's episode is about splitting the bill. So, I'm not even gonna lie, I've pretty much been like a spoiled princess my entire life. I'm an only child. I grew up getting everything I want. I never had to like want for anything. If I ever like needed anything from my parents, just to be like, okay, mom, can you bring home this? And like, they do it. And it's like, I'm definitely grateful for that I've always never had to like want anything, and my parents always provided everything I needed because they grew up not wealthy, so like they wanted me to be able to never have to struggle like they did. So it has caused problems definitely in like adulthood because I do expect to be like spoiled and catered to, but I also feel like in relationships I'm definitely like compromising and open, but there's just certain things that I would expect a guy to do, and maybe it's also because I'm feminine and always imagine myself as the girl in the relationship, but I always just think that on a first date, the man that's not me definitely should be paying the bill. Like, I don't care if you're older, younger, if you're the top, well, I'm always the bottom. I don't care, like, anything. Like, if we're on a first date, I'm not paying. You should pay the bill. Like, and like, in this day and age, it's like, I guess, feminism, like, even girls have to deal with, like, having to worry about splitting the bill. I'm like, it's just always been something that's like really bothered me. Like, if a guy wants to split the bill, like, ew, like, I'm not attracted to you anymore. Like, I expect you to pay the bill. And maybe it's just like growing up with like my parents, and like whenever we went out to dinner, my dad would always pay, like, no matter what, unless it was like his birthday or something. But I just feel like the man always pays. I'm just like used to that. And I know like gay relationships aren't like the same as heteronormative relationships, and like we have the ability to not have to fall into those traps. It's just I always feel like I'm the girl and I expect the man, which is not me, to pay the fucking bill on the first date. So I did go out with this guy a couple weeks ago, and like we were supposed to go on a date like earlier, but like I was so fucking broke after paying my rent, so I like had no money, and I just didn't want to run the risk of having to split the bill when I didn't have any money. It's like in Boston in college, like I went on dates all the fucking time. Like it was like a goal of mine to see how many more dates I could get each semester after the other, and like I never really had to pay the bill. And like sometimes guys would be like weird. Like one guy did send me like a long bitchy message about how he thought it was rude that I didn't offer to pay the bill, and like our date was like $250, but I just felt like he literally spent the entire date like bragging about how much money he made, that he was like an eye doctor, that he took his ex to like Paris and like Thailand and all this shit, and literally all he did was brag about his money and wealth. And it's like, you're a fucking eye doctor and I'm a college student and you're expecting me to pay the bill on the date? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, don't go out with much younger guys that are in different positions than you if you don't expect to pay for shit. And then it's like, okay, I am older now, like I am like 28, so it just feels like I've never really gotten out of that mentality that I'm going to be expected to pay for things. Like, it's still hard for me to have to accept that I'm not being the spoiled princess anymore, and guys will expect me to pay the bill, but it's just like a turn off anyway. And it's like, it is definitely a big divide, because like there's lots of people that think like, okay, like if we go on a date, like I'll always pay. Like I know like lots of guys that feel that way, especially guys that are like tops and like expect to be the more masculine in the relationship. They expect that they can at least pay the bill on the first date, and they would never expect the bottom, especially if it's like even a guy they aren't even that into. They would never like expect them to pay the bill on the first date. Like, and I never really believed in the whole like, if I asked you out I should pay the bill, because I just feel like that's bullshit. It's just like, I don't care who asked out. It's like, I'm not paying the bill regardless, so you should pay the bill. And it's like, I went out on a date with this guy, and like he was like 3 years older than me, and like, okay, I flaked on the date because I didn't have any money and I just didn't want to risk paying the bill. And it's like, I have gone on dates with guys in Atlanta that have paid for everything, like desserts, drinks, appetizer. Just the only downside was like, I wasn't that into him, and I keep getting attracted to bums in Atlanta, so it's like, it's rare to even find a guy that can take me out to dinner. So it's like, I am not going to run the risk of going out on a date when I can't afford to pay my own half, because I don't even know if they're gonna reach for their wallet. And like, I always think it's tacky when a guy does like ask beforehand, like, am I paying, are we splitting, like beforehand, even though I feel like that is definitely like smarter to not run the risk of like that awkward moment when no one's reaching for their wallet, which did kind of happen on this date, because I was just like, got that feeling. Well, I kind of knew like he probably was gonna pay when the waitress asked us if we wanted an appetizer. He's like, I just want to start with a meal, and I was just like, oh no, like I'm used to guys like going out and it's like appetizers, multiple drinks. Like we did have drinks and like an entree, but like it's usually like appetizers, drinks, entree, and dessert, and it's just like, ew, you just want to skip into the meal? Like, that sounds like some bum nigga shit. And then, of course, he ended up splitting the fucking bill. Like, thankfully I did have money, but I'm also glad I flaked on the date the first time because this situation happened. And then, of course, I was just like, normally that is like, I've never split the bill with a gay. Like, I maybe think of like, it's rare that I ever even was expected to pay the bill. I think I maybe paid for something on a date like twice in my life, and I never saw either of them again. And then this time I never saw this guy again, even though we like made plans. I was like really into him, and like we'd been talking for so long, so I was like, you know what, let me just get over this whole thinking that I have to be taken care of and that I need a man that's gonna pay for the whole date. And I was like, let me give him at least another chance just to see, like, is it worth my time? And then he wasn't worth my fucking time because he like ghosted me and we're supposed to go on another date. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this is exactly why I shouldn't waste my time with guys that want to split the bill on the first date. And I know people probably think it sounds like ridiculous and superficial to like expect a guy to pay for everything, but it's like, honestly, like, we set up our own standards and I'm just accustomed to never having to pay the bill on a date. So I feel like I shouldn't really be expected to pay the bill on a date because it's just not something I ever really had to do. So I am not into guys that want to split the bill on the first date. And this last time really showed me that if a guy does split the bill on the date, no matter how much I think I'm into him or think like I want to give him a chance or think that maybe it's time for me to evolve and start paying the bill, like, fuck that bullshit. No, if you split the bill on the first date, I'm never going to talk to you again. End of discussion, period. So yeah, thanks for joining me for this episode of Branden's Boy Problems.